Hello, welcome to From Caracas. I'm Laura Prada, and in this opportunity, we'll be talking to Samadhi García, who is from Mexico, and she works at the Master Institute from that country. And we will be talking about woman empowerment through body language. Welcome.
Thank you.
What are you doing in Caracas? What brings you here?
I came to make some workshops, to work with women, to be able to work within the emotional part, corporal work, or inclined to heal wounds, to be able to develop better people.
Tell me about your experience giving this kind of workshops.
I have been working with a group of people for some years now, and I also with people individually, and it has been very fruitful, because it has helped me to make changes in some group of people. I work on the part of wounds, how to heal wounds, how to work with emotions from body expression. So, it's how to change people's stories and how to modify their lives, but through what I need to heal, what I have to know about each person. So from there, you can heal your wounds. And based on that, it's what I've been working last year with people. And on this occasion, coming to Venezuela with women in particular.
Which is the purpose of these tools, these elements that you teach women?
It's said that the tool, or what it provides, is a healing of the body. Since childhood, we generate some wounds or something in our environment, either beliefs or our society, we generate internal wounds. From there, I'm generating a survival, something that hurts me. Well, then I have to find out in which way it doesn't hurt me again. And then the work with this tool is how to help the person rather than situate himself in a survival. Help them to locate a living, to be able to enjoy their life without having to be constantly defending themselves. And rather than guiding us in what words are or in what the person tells me, but it's like how I see their bodies, and from that, how they have generated a body to be able to defend against these wounds, and then why these tools are very located to the movement of the body. So I need to dance, I need to scream, I need to cry, I need to move because the wounds are inside. They don't look on your skin, but you need to go deeper into each person.
In which way these tools help women empowering themselves?
Of course, in order to generate an empowerment, because first you have to heal everything that's behind, because then, if not, it becomes more a form of, more than empowerment, more than getting full of this power, of this force, of this energy, it becomes an attack. Then, now that I worked this weekend with these women, it's like being able to join them. Not so much as a help, but to be able to join them in processes so that they heal all the wounds, so that they will heal something that perhaps they feel that can limit them in order to generate a breakthrough in their life. Some anger they have against someone or against an environment that at some point generated some personal harm. Then, starting from being able to work this, starting from being able to work and to integrate their daily life, to be able to integrate what they are doing in social movements, in movements like Leaders of Caracas, or this part of fighting to improve many things in their state, because it's like going to heal all that from there, being able to connect with their internal power, with the internal energy, and not from a space of then I survive and I defend myself, but rather I heal, and from there I can project something healthier, something more sensitive, something more loving to others.
Is it a process of while the person is being is going through with accompanied by the other person, or is an individual process?
It can be an individual process, it can be a group process, and indifferently of the two areas, it's a process of accompaniment. Why? Because in what I do, that is a process of accompaniment. That means joining the person, the process of his life, his fears, if he had any abuse, if he had any wound too deep, which is the same thing that can accompany an individual person, as I can do a group work and I can accompany the group throughout their overall process.
Is there a connection between women's individual development and the social development of countries?
Claro, porque cuando la mujer
Of course, because women, when they manage to work with all the wounds, with all what they defend before the country, with everything that they defend, maybe before the family, before society, from that, by being treated, can begin to do a better work in their society, within their country. It can be something healthier, something not so much from a point of fighting, attacking, but rather from a point of being able to listen and to say, well, I'm living this, but how can I do to advance? Not to cling to something and get stuck in that same place. So, of course, if women manage to generate a big change in themselves, as a domino effect, they can make a big change in the country.
Talking about this woman empowerment, some people like to talk about feminism, others like to talk about machismo, but why you don't like to make this comparison?
Because within the activities I do, there is something very important, that is to be able to integrate everything. And then when we talk about machismo and feminism, there is no integration, but there is a division, because the man sexist or a feminist. Either man has power or a woman has power, and there it is rather to be able to find an integration, to be able to find in which way man and woman can form bonds, or can form something to work together. And from there, to go doing things, but to go forward, both of them. No one stays behind, no one stays ahead, because in the end, from both sides, there are wounds. From both sides, there are ways of thinking. From both sides, there are places where you want to go. And more than fighting, when one fights, when one is attacked, is limited, because in the end, within White at Work, the main idea is to grow, to move together, to be able to hit together, to be able to find more loving questions together. So I don't make this division between machismo and feminism, because I feel that if you do, or within the theory of my work, is that if you do it, there is no advance if you have to pull the other. And if the other, you are against him or her, then how do you pull them? There is no way to do it. Then it's more to be able to integrate all that, to look like the same as, of course, one has a different energy, the other has a different energy, but that doesn't make us work together. That makes we can do things together to generate changes together, but divisions rather limitate.
Which is the final point of those tools that you teach, and which are their benefits?
The purpose would be to know people and to teach people. This time, as I worked for women, to know themselves, to know the history, to know their wounds, to know what maybe don't allow them to advance, limit them, and doesn't allow them to see that there is something else to fight for, and not only to defend themselves, to move, and of course, from being able to teach them this, to be able to work with all these wounds, because they can drive into people. We call them better people. But sometimes they ask, well, what do you mean by better person? It's like being able to say, well, I become more loving, I can get to stand up and listen to the other, not just getting stuck in my idea and how it has to be, and there can be something else. There can be no other idea. There can be no other way of thinking. When you work with this, you can say, okay, this is my life and these are my decisions, but it will also be how to listen to the other, how it would be able to approach the other. Then when I begin to work with my wound, when I begin to heal all these wounds, I'm able to tell the other, okay, I'm open-hearted and you can count on me. Maybe we have different ideas, but that doesn't prevent us from working together, that we don't unite, that we cannot treat ourselves from a loving place. And that is the purpose of being able to work with oneself, what I impose as a functional tool.
Are those tools helpful to carry out so that women in Venezuela keep living their lives and improve themselves, even though the political moment and the economic also moment that is living Venezuela?
Within what I work, which is a branch called body psychotherapy, then of course there is a union. I don't work specifically with some of those three you mentioned, but there is a union between work with the body, the ability to touch and know the body, and breathing, because in the end, all that integrates a human being is part of oneself. Then, of course, within all that I work, there are different tools to work with breathing. There are different tools to be able to work body movements, body expression, to learn to approach, to generate approaches with another, either woman, either man, either of the same sex or different sex, to be able to begin to find approaches. And of course, from being able to work with all these tools, as I mentioned earlier, I can begin to know myself as a person. I can begin to generate changes in my person. From there, to have different approaches to all the environments, from religion, society, politics, and here can be functional for the whole issue of politics, to be able to generate great changes, to be able, at least, to be able to integrate this type of work into the social movement, to the movement done within politics.
You said it was a workshop with women who are leaders in their regions. Tell me a little bit about this experience.
It was very interesting because within what I do, it is to contact the most vulnerable part with the most sensitive part of the people. And now, working with leaders, working with women who maybe are in a constant struggle in their lives, it is to break many armors. They have been taught to be strong women, to be women who have to do many things, that they have to do many things, that there is no room for weakness. So today, someone will come and tell them, hey, in order to advance you need to slow down a bit and say, let's see, yes, I'm strong, yes, I cling to things, yes, I fight, if I fight for something in common, but it is also important to look at my heart, look at my wounds. In the beginning, I saw how faces like, hey, yes, if I have a lifetime or many years dedicated to be strong as a woman, and now you come and tell me that I have to contact my vulnerability. So it was a very strenuous job. But in the end, I think I could see a change in their faces, and to realize that sometimes to be strong, to be vulnerable, one has to be strong. So they, although from the beginning I did not see that it was a simple job, in the end they could break with many armors. They saw something different, something they didn't know. And that's what makes it interesting, right? Because it's possible to see that life and wounds make you look for forms of defense, look for forms of survival. but it's not impossible to break them. Maybe if these women, for instance, today I finished with the workshop and say, well, yes, tomorrow has to follow my fight. I can't get out of there, but I can say, okay, today I gave another tool. Today I gave other ways to approach the other that is not always going to be fighting, which is not always going to be blaming me or say, you were the one to blame, you did the wrong thing. Then to be able to work with them, besides what I like too much, I think they made me, just as they learned something new, they made me learn different things.
Today, women are called to empower themselves, especially in Latin America and the Caribbean, but also in other parts of the world like Africa. How these tools that you teach are helpful for them, because they are called to lead these coming revolutions.
I would say that it would be like being able to show them within what I do. It has been shown that just as men have male and female energy, women also have male and female energy. It has a subtle, loving energy and has a powerful, leader-like energy. Then, as being able to help them to generate more strength, to help with some exercises of empowerment, of being able to know themselves, of being able to know their physical strength, their loving force, that also with the subtle questions they can accomplish wonderful things. It's not always, I have to be strong, be aggressive, I have to be recognized by my strength, by my body. No, you can also be recognized as a woman from your place, more subtle, more sensitive, then be able to go working with women from this body space, from this energetic place, to go empowering all these benefits that one as a woman can have, either from the physical place, from the energetic place, or from the emotional place, to be able to know these three states so that from there they can begin to empower each of these spaces and to be able to take them outside, to be able to project them either in the society, in the family, or in the state, in their country.
How is it that you come to work with this kind of tools and to help people?
In Venezuela or my life in general?
In general.
I believe that my dad's whole life has been devoted to working with people, working with the body, working with the mind. And of course, to me, since childhood, I was taught to know all that environment. But I could say that what really brought me to this, to be able to work with the people, to be able to work with the emotions, with the corporal, was my life. Being able to realize that I had wounds, that more than living it, rather than enjoying it, I will bother another to annoy the other, because the one who was angry was me. And when I started to see my dad's work or the work of the people who were in my environment, I realized that not only was it about me, but to move forward, I had to look that there was also someone in front of me. There were also people who, if I behaved badly, that if I hurt, because not only was hurting the other, but also was hurting me. Then, because I decided on the initial part, work with me, with my process, to work all this I do today, all that I take to different parts of the world, to be able to work with me and realize that it is really functional, to realize and then to see the modification that not only comes in me, but in the people of the environment, for me, has filled me with unique experiences. To see that not only the wounds, not only the defense is important, but it's also important to be able to love, to be able to live, to enjoy, to know, to see a person who, at best, working with his process, cries too much, but then comes a smile, that later comes a thank you. To me, my work has satisfied me a lot, but also being able to see my change since I started to dedicate myself to this until today, it really has made me even more wonderful, because then I know that allows me to reach more people, and then see those smiles, that act gratitude, that sincere hug of the people, and tell me, yes, it hurts, but you've helped me to look at it, and that from there is another option, there is another way to do it.
Tell me, how is it that you approach that person, that first approach to help and to work together so that person can identify the wounds they have in order to heal?
I wouldn't call it diagnosis. To me, the word diagnostic sounds like a medical thing to me, and I believe that the wounds or defenses of the people don't have anything to do with medical stuff, but they are natural processes, because anyone when feels in danger tends to defend themselves. When anyone feels hurt, hides, goes backwards or goes forwards and attacks, then I think that more than reaching people, more than I can make a diagnosis, to explain how they are only to see them, would be lying. Rather, I think people, when they want something, when they see in their body a thirst to need, an emotional job, to look what there is something that don't allow them to advance, that there is something that the more they do, their life doesn't have a breakthrough. Nothing positive happens. They say, I need something, I need a tool, I need something to tell me that I can, that there is more, that there is something different, that not only I have to cry, scream, hit. Then I sometimes say that I don't get to people. Sometimes people come to me, but because when you come to me, there is a need for something. There is a need for something different. Something tells me that theory is not enough, is not longer enough that what I hear. I need to work more with stuff that can't be explained, because this type of work, there is no basic explanation. There is an explanation that really says what happens in humans when you start to work with this. Maybe the theory tells you, yes, to heal the wounds, to work with you have to break with a lot. But will never be anyone who says, yes, I'm really working with me if you are not yourself. So I think it's not like I get to someone and say, this is your life diagnosis, and this is what happens to you, and you have to suffer from this. But the person arrives with me, and from there, all I do is that I join them in their processes with the tools I have. I take their hand, open my heart, and say, here I am for what you need, and if you want to cry and scream, I will judge you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Like this, we've come to the end of this from Caracas. We've talked with Samadhi García, who is from Mexico, from the Amer Master Institute, and she was sharing with us her work with body language to help not only women's empowerment, but human being empowerment. Thank you very much.
Gracias.